We are ready. Dr. Fred is going to be talking to us about making laser-sharp decisions in an environment of distraction. Anybody have distraction going on? Oh, we have a few, Dr. Fred. They're all yours. They are ready.
Hi, everybody. We have about 1,300 people that are watching this around the country, even in some countries abroad. So we welcome all of you to our audience today. How many, I want to ask you this question. Why are you here? Now, you've heard me say this. World-class teams do not have crickets. You with me? When your leader needs input and needs to make a decision based upon the value of the input of the team, when he or she asks for input, what do world-class teams do? They give it. They don't beat around the bush. They give it. So this is a test of your leadership of our team. Why are you here? Why are you here? Show some leadership. Yes.
To continue to strengthen the foundation I lead on.
Continue to strengthen the foundation I lead on. That's just how we practice it, Joel. Okay. Who else? Who else? Yes.
As the metaphor you use to keep the rubber band, a lot of these things are things we all agree with, are excited about, but they can be uncomfortable. So that's that keeping that rubber band stretched.
It's part of the process of keeping the rubber band stretched. Make sense? We have over 700 people that are here from various companies. We'll have 40 or 50 in one company that they're all watching together. And it's part of our process that we have for maintenance to help people hold on to the rubber band. Because it is so easy to let go and do the easy thing, isn't it, you all? Who else? Why are you here? Yes, ma'am.
Lately, I've been angry about how technology always pulls you away, and I think it's important to discuss getting away from that and making decisions.
Okay. Abby said she's here because she wanted to hear me speak. Abby, I love you. And she is going to Paris, to France tonight, right?
Connecting in Paris and going to Italy.
Oh, and then going to Italy, even better. Okay, who else? A couple more people. Why are you? Yes, ma'am, the two in the back.
I'm here because I'm new to leadership, and so this has really been helping me develop my skills in that space, and then I've kind of made my team.
That's awesome. So you have teammates here. You want to develop. You want to continue to grow. You have a hunger to make an impact, don't you? How many of us here have a hunger to make an impact? That's what makes this group and those who are listening so special. Last but not least.
I'm here because I want to continue to be a stronger leader, and this fills my cup every single month. I walk out inspired. That's
fantastic. She wants to have her cup filled. My friend from Kohler, we're so glad that you've made the trip. We have Fond du Lac school system that's here. A bunch of you drove all the way from here, from Fond du Lac to be with us. The problem with naming someone, there's always so many other people that you leave out, so forgive me for that. What a robust group today. So are you ready to roll with me today? Okay. So, you all, let me say this. The difference between impactful leaders and followers is the quality and the speed of their decisions. The difference between impactful leaders and followers is the quality and speed of their decisions. Let me make a few statements. What are the decisions that determine the mastery that we seek? What are the decisions that determine the mastery that we seek? Number two, we either live our lives by our purpose or by everybody else's noise, and there is no in between. We either live our lives by our purpose or by everyone else's noise, and there is no in between. When you live your life by your purpose, You are making intentional, thoughtful, deliberate decisions every day. When you are living by other people's noise, you are not making decisions. What are you doing? What are you doing? Talk to me. You are reacting. And when you are reacting, it is not a decision, and it is an act of irresponsibility. Because if it doesn't go well, what do you get to do? You get to blame someone else. And so effective leaders who are making a difference that is bigger than ourselves are very, very intentional, and they have a framework for making decisions. They have a deliberate framework for making decisions. And those decisions are personal and they are professional. You with me? And so as we start today, I want to pause and ask you a question. And those of you who are online, and get ready to get the chats, I want you to think of a decision right now in your life. It can be at home, it can be at work, it can be in one of the organizations that you serve, it can be with a relationship in your life. I want you to be thinking about a decision right now that you have been thinking about. And it is not clear or easy to make that decision. And you may already know what to do, but you may be afraid to do it. And no matter what you do, there's going to be implications. Make sense? And what I want you to do is take a moment and write down on your notepad that decision that you have been debating, that you have been flip-flopping. So I want to ask you, let me make a statement here. When you think about that decision, why are we so afraid to make that decision? Why are we afraid to make tough decisions? Yes, sir.
We're afraid of change. For example, me, I made a decision a couple months ago to move to Wisconsin. I'm originally from Texas, and it's been the best decision I've made. I contemplated what was good, what was bad, but the choice wasn't about everyone else, it was about me.
You had to make a decision to move and to change the entire rhythm of your life, relationships, everything from moving to Texas to Wisconsin, which is a good move. That's all I'm going to say on that. Who else? Who else? Why are we afraid to make decisions? Yes.
There's a couple online. Failure, not just for myself, but for my team. Management of my finances, fear of failure, rejection.
Wow. That's big, isn't it? Yes, ma'am.
Letting my team down.
Letting your team down. Okay. Thinking that we're responsible if we make a decision. Okay. And so let's go. What I want to do is give you 5 questions. 5 questions to ask whenever you are about to make a decision. A decision whether it's about, do I need to stand for what I believe in or play it safe and not rock the boat? Do I need to start a relationship? Do I need to end a relationship? Do I need to take that new job, or do I stay where I am? I'm tired of the stress and it's so easy to take that opportunity, or do I stay here and grind it out? Someone's already going, no. And so let me give you these 5 questions. If I weren't afraid, what would I do? If I weren't afraid, what would I do? You see, fear is a major liar. Fear can take something and distort the reality of what is. Would you agree with that? Is it weak to be afraid? No. You show me a leader who says he or she is never afraid, and I will show you, number one, someone who is not being honest, and number two, who is making a lot of bonehead decisions. Listen, you have no fear, you will have no boundaries. You will have no checkpoints. Fear is an important source of information. It's when you're backing up and your truck's going beep, 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 beep. That's what fear does. It makes sure that you check, but it's one thing to have fear. It's another thing to be dominated by your fear. You with me? If you are a leader, you have made a decision that I'm going to process through my fear when I'm making decisions, but I will not be dominated by my fear. I will be a principle-led decision maker, not a fear-based, dominated by decision maker. You guys with me? And so one, if I weren't afraid, what would I do? Listen, the opposite of fear, most people think it's what? It is not courage. It is action. The opposite of fear is action. I have found when I am building Mount Everest in my head that started off with a molehill. You guys ever do that? And you can start feeling paralyzed and overwhelmed, and you build a narrative that's this big and you feel this tall. The greatest cure for fear is do something. The greatest fear for fear is make a decision. Listen, when you make a decision, only 3 things can happen. One is you can be right. Number 2, you can be wrong and learn from it and gain perspective, and you can still adjust by it. You with me? By the way, if you make a mistake, if you're at 8.0 in your belief system instead of 2.7, if you make a mistake, you don't beat yourself up. You don't shame yourself. You say what? I can do it. This is a learning opportunity. This is one more way not to do the light bulb. You can be right. You can be wrong. You can learn from it. You can get better from it, and you can adjust to it. And the third is to make no decision at all. That is the only one of the 3 that is unacceptable. To make no decision is to be 100% that you're not going to be right, and you don't learn from your mistake of being wrong. Make sense? Some of the greatest lessons that I have learned did not come from success, they came from failure. They came from making the wrong decision and saying, okay, what did I learn from this? Perfectionism is anti-growth. Commitment to excellence says, I'm going to lean in, I'm going to take risks, I'm going to be bold in my life, and I am not going to be afraid of making a mistake, because if I make a mistake, it doesn't make me a mistake, it just provides an opportunity for accelerated learning. It is what I call free tuition for growth. So the first question is what? If I weren't afraid, what would I do? Here's the second question. Would my values approve of the decision that I'm about to make? Or the decision that I just made, would my values approve of it? You know, your values are your guardrails. Your values are who you are in the process of living and making decisions. I have many people that I coach who say to me, I'm not sure what to do. And I said, yes, you already do. You just are not leaning on your resource. The greatest resource that you have to make a decision are your values. Your values are those things that when you're within that framework, you are being your authentic self. You are being true to yourself. You are in the best version of yourself. And listen, there are 2 times that people in companies are most likely to wink at their values and do something else and hold their nose while they do it. The first is fear of rejection. Fear of social rejection. Oh, if I do this, that person may be mad at me. If I do this, that person may quit doing business with me. If I do this, this person may not speak to me again or may grunt at me in the halls. Is social rejection a big deal? You bet it is. And the other is this. Fear of it is in times of financial insecurity. Oh my gosh, I'm so afraid to make this decision because what if I lose it? What if we don't recover? If you really want to know what a company is made out of, it's one thing to live by your purpose when you got $1 million in the bank. It's another thing when you're trying to go paycheck by paycheck, getting it through week by week, and you make a decision that you know is going to set you back financially. You with me? That's when you're going to find out what you're really made out of. When you don't know what to do, you always let your values make the decision for you. And if those values have been thought out and they're careful and they cause you to stretch and for you to be at your best or your company to be at your best, we call that your personal brand. We call that your professional brand. Your values are how people react to you and how you react to people every single day. You cannot make an effective decision and be outside of your values. Did you hear that? Now, so what would my values think? I'm part of a group of CEOs that we meet with, an executive cohort. And you have to have gone through the leadership transformation process to be eligible for that because of the level of vulnerability and transparency that we have in that group. I want to tell you, that group kicked my tail this week. And I'm the leader, and you don't need to smile, Joel. That group kicked my tail. I was talking and lamenting about a tough decision that I made a while back, and I was so mad at myself that why didn't I make that decision earlier? And I was just tearing it up, and one of them said, "Well, duh, Fred, you weren't practicing what you preach." And I said, "Excuse me?" They said, "You weren't practicing what you preach." You all have a company that we know there are 2 things that are really big in this company. Number 1, you all lean into discomfort. You're not afraid to be bold with people. You don't want people to be uncomfortable, but you also know that you can't change without discomfort. And some of the most caring things that we can do is to tell someone something that they need to hear that they don't want to hear, or something that we need to say that we don't want to say. But if you are bold and you are impactful, you're going to lean into discomfort. I don't want to surround myself with yes people. I want people who are safe enough and bold enough to tell me the truth. And that group told me the truth this past week. They said, "Look, Fred, you all talk about discomfort. You talk about leaning in, and yet that you're describing a person who lived for comfort. You described the person that when there was a hard discussion, they'd back off. You describe a person when it was time to take a risk, they always played it safe. And you kept tolerating it. The problem is not that person, Fred. The problem is you." I hate when what I teach comes back flying at me. But they were absolutely right. And I went, you know what? I have been violating the value of discomfort and bold for I've been violating that value. No wonder I've been so upset. And it's on me. The other one was accountability. You cannot be a great leader without receiving accountability and without giving accountability. And yet, we've had people here. We've had people here that, we love accountability for everyone else, don't we? We all want accountability until we get it. Great leaders say, bring it on. Bring it on. I want it. I need it. I expect it. And if you've got someone on your team that's not there, you need to have a suggestion in your head, is this the right person for my team? So the first one is what? If I weren't afraid, what would I do? What's the second one? Would my values approve of the decision that I have made or I'm about to make? Oh, here's the third. Does the decision that I'm about to make move me away from my purpose, or does it stay intact in the middle of my purpose? Does it allow me to operate out of the best version of myself, the sweet part of the bat? Listen, we have enough pressures. We have enough obstacles. We have enough people trying to undermine what we're trying to do. We have enough naysayers in our lives that the last thing that we need to be doing is creating our own self-barriers. Would you agree with that? And one of the most powerful things that you can do in every decision is to ask, is this on purpose? Listen, I've been mentored by some of the person who helped create the lean process that turned around Japan and became the #1 manufacturing quality process in the world. And she taught me that the world-class companies that she had worked with, that she had mentored, that she had been named as the head of the Baldrige Foundation, which back in the 90s was the #1 criteria for world-class excellence. And at age 34, I sat at her kitchen table, and she and I were able to determine the 6 qualities of who wins the Baldrige Award that the President of the United States determines. This is the elite of the elite of the elite. This is the game changer. This is the standard. And one of the things that we learned about every single company that won the Baldrige Award, #1, when we asked them, why are you here? Why do you want this? If they said this, because I want to win, guess what happened? We said, failure, sorry, wrong answer. But if they said, I am here because I want to be challenged. I want to become better. I want someone to stretch me like I've never been stretched before. They made it to the next competition. And the winners always had this, the Cadillacs, the Cornings, the Microsofts, all of those had one thing in common. They didn't try to be everything to everybody. They didn't make decisions based upon what people thought. They made decisions based upon principle. Is it within my purpose? They weren't trying to be all things to all people. They are what we call a laser beam, not a shotgun. How does the path of a shotgun go? It goes everywhere, and it doesn't go far. But a laser beam, in theory, depending on the strength of the laser, can go miles and miles and miles and miles. And how wide is that path? Just tiny little, sometimes you can't even see it. You see, why is it so narrow? Because A laser beam leader is someone who has clear boundaries. And their success is determined not by what they say yes to, but what they say no to. And that is hard, isn't it? Here's the challenge. When I ask 100 people, tell me what your values are. Tell me what your purpose is. Here's the problem with what I'm saying. The statistics that we have researched for 26 years tell us that less than 1% of 100 people in America actually know their purpose and know definitively what their values are. And this is the biggie, they make decisions, hard decisions about it every day. Oh, I've seen a lot of companies that have a purpose statement on a wall. You ever seen them? And they're typically 9 paragraphs long. And they were created by 2 or 3 people in a room that no one else knew that they were even creating, much less have any feedback. And they don't affect your decision making. If you don't know your purpose, if you don't know your values, don't be ashamed about that. Just know that you're in the crowd of the common. If you want to become in the empire of the exceptional, you've got a decision to make. And the first decision to make is, am I going to do the hard work to quit living a reactionary life and start figuring out what my purpose is? And am I going to figure out what the 4 or 5 to 6 core values of my life are that are non-negotiable? And any time that someone or a company or a customer or an initiative is asking me to go outside of that, what is the answer every single time? No, or we do the work to get that request within the value system. Make sense? We know that if less than 1% of people think that way, and those people go to work, they suddenly don't become principle-based decision makers at work when they're not doing it in their personal life. So when they show up at work, they do the same thing. If 1% of people don't know their purpose and don't know their values, guess what is the percentage of companies that really don't make decisions based upon internal principle, purpose, and values? What is it? 1%. And let me give you some real positive encouragement. You can, when we have a process and the methodology here that we've developed over 26 years. We teach leaders and how to develop that framework so that they can make bold decisions faster and informed decisions, because everybody around that table is psychologically mature. Make sense? If you don't know how, and when we lay it out typically in the kickoff session, that in week 9, when you give a presentation to this group of your decision frame, this is my purpose in 2 words. My 2-word purpose is accelerating change. I don't do, and that means a lot more than those 2 words, but I know what it means because I did the work to figure that out. I don't do anything in my life that requires significant resources that is not about positive change in something or someone. Make sense? That is where I'm within my sweet spot. And when we tell people in 9 weeks, you're going to know your purpose in 2 words, Tracy, what is often the reaction in the room? When you see people around the room for the first time hearing that, what do they think? Oh my gosh, 2 words? This is crazy, and people are fearful. Listen, there is so much body of work out online that you can go to and figure out how to find your purpose. Now, they are not as effective as what we have here. Let me just say that. Now, but there are people like us who can help you find your purpose. and can help you find your values. So if you don't have a decision frame, decision point number 1 is figure out what my decision frame is. If you don't have that framework, you are mincemeat for any strong personality or toxic individual in your life. You ever seen a company that is overrun by toxic people? You know why? Because they don't have a decision framework. Or if they do, they put it in the desk a long time ago. You all, this is not complex stuff. But the answer to living in a complex world is simplicity. And I'm showing you a simple way to do battle of leadership in a complex world. Is it on purpose? Is it within my values? Here's the third one. Here's the fourth one. And the fourth one is, I don't want to miss this. If I make this decision, what kind of person am I becoming? Every decision is a reflection of who we are or where we're going. Every decision that we make is a reflection of who we are or where we're going. This decision that I'm about to make, does it reflect that I'm willing to sell my soul to someone so that I can have a promotion? Does it mean that I'm willing to hold my nose and turn the other way because I don't want discomfort in my life? The decisions that you're making, that decision that I asked you to write down, how you handle that decision is a reflection of who you are becoming. You guys with me? Am I boring you? And here's number 5. Am I listening to the wisdom of my body? Am I listening to the wisdom of my body? There's a great coach by the name of Paul McKenna who talks a lot about this. And he says, he gives his clients this challenge. You're thinking about a decision and you have 2 options. Now, I want you to think about option A that you've just made in your mind. What is happening in your body when you make that decision? Is your chest tightening? Or is there a sense of relief? Have you ever made a decision that the moment you made the decision, within 5 minutes you regretted making? Have you ever made a tough decision, really hard decision, but you had almost instant peace that this is the right thing to do? Make sense? Listen, your body will tell you. Does your chest tighten? Does your breathing shorten? Do you suddenly have anxiety and you can feel it in your body tingling? Or is there a calming, centered feeling that's going on? Your body knows you better than you know you. And your body will tell you it's part of being an intuitive leader. It's not just in the brain, it's listening to your body. And your body will tell you if you are not being your authentic self. And part of being a holistic, powerful decision maker is listening to all the resources in your life to help you make that decision, including wise people that you have put around you, like my executive cohort who kicked my tail this past week. By the way, were they being my friends? They love me, and they showed me that they love me. Make sense? And so are you listening to your body? Are you listening to the anxiety? Are you listening to the tingling? Are you listening to saying, this is okay? Or you're about to do something that is not in line with who you are? What are you all thinking? By the way, I got 7 points that I'm not going to get to. What are you thinking? What has struck you in the last 30 minutes. One thing that has struck you that you're going to make a decision differently now than you would have done 45 minutes ago. What have already you've decided to do? Leadership moment, world-class teams don't have crickets. Trish.
I'm going to lean into discomfort.
And what are you going to do?
I'm going to have a meeting.
You're going to have a meeting that you don't want to have. You know what that is? You're not serious about change until you say it out loud. Why? What does that invite? It invites accountability. And you are not serious about accountability unless you're willing to say something to someone and you know that they're going to come back. Jameson, where are you? Jameson, God bless him. 24 hours later, he wrote me an email and said, "Did you start doing what the team encouraged you to do?" I went, "Yes, sir. I've already had the first conversation." You cannot change by yourself. Change and growth and progress is a group exercise. If you can do it all by yourself, you're not doing significant work because we're too close to ourselves. What other? My friend Trish says, "I'm going to have a meeting that I don't want to have." Yes, ma'am. Gina.
Keep doing it scared.
Keep doing it scared. Is it okay to be scared? Absolutely. We've talked about that. It is okay to be scared. It is not okay to be dominated while you're being scared. Fear, is that helpful? Oh, what is the best way to neutralize your fear? Put it on the table. Acknowledge I'm scared. Acknowledge that, man, I am nervous as all get out. That's how, when you've got a fungus, the way you kill it is you put it in the light. Who else? Yes, sir. Brian, and then Carl, and then on chat. Brian.
I'm going to take a step back and be purposeful in my decision making instead of kind of waiting for it to show.
Okay. You know, Brian and I are a lot alike. He is a master, cutting-edge physical person. He has a doctorate, and he understands the art form of how to change your body. He makes me uncomfortable twice a week. There are 2 hours a week that I hate him. But he has been necessary for me. He is, and I know him well because he is scared to death of failing. Scared to death of failing. And when you're scared to death of failing and you give power to your fear, you will be a person of indecision. And if you want to lose trust with your team, be a person of indecision. They would rather have you make bold decisions and make a mistake and own it and correct it any day than being so afraid to fail that you make no decision and you fail. Who else? Carl.
The reminder that perfectionism is anti-growth.
Okay, say that again, Carl.
The reminder that perfectionism is anti-growth.
Perfectionism is anti-growth. Yes, ma'am.
I'm going to do the hard work and stop living a reactionary life.
Wow.
Fulfill my purpose.
Oh, wow. That's, you know, Phil, go ahead.
These concepts are so simple that if you trust the process, the hard part is going all in on the process. Halfway won't work.
Yeah.
And then when you make decisions with purpose, your success will be determined by what you say no to. And there was some chatter on here also about people wondering what your body was telling you when you bought Saturns. In the 90s, you bought 2 different Saturns. Really engaged online, you can see.
Someone is playing with me that I've known for about 30 years. It told me, Fred, play small ball. And not only do it once, do it again and again. Because if you play small ball, you're not going to fail. You guys, playing small ball is failure. When you have been gifted and you're capable of so much more. Don't play small ball. Who else? Yes.
My biggest takeaway is if I wasn't afraid, what would I do?
Yeah. That's awesome. That is awesome. Yes, ma'am.
Need to rediscover the values and purpose to make better decisions.
Rediscover my values and purpose. Sometimes we lose our way, don't we? Sometimes we lose our way. That doesn't make us of no value. It makes us human. Make sense? One other person. Who's last? Yes.
Your quote of the best answer to a world of complexity is simplicity.
Yeah.
And, you know, as a leader, the decisions, the things coming at you at 1,000,000 miles an hour, right, can be overwhelming.
Yeah.
Can feel complex.
Yeah.
But through the lens of your purpose is simple.
Yeah. Thank you, Paul. You know what? As I wrap this up, and I'll give you the other 7 at our next think tank. Okay? The other 7 are really, really good. Because Tracy helped me with it. Okay? Listen, are you going to be a person who goes all in and decides that you don't want to be a shotgun, you don't want to go a mile wide and an inch deep, you want to go an inch wide and 10 miles deep. You want to go all in with what you're doing. You see, most of us live our lives to avoid pain, discomfort. Most of us live our lives to avoid pain and discomfort. And we become sugar seekers. A sugar seeker is when things get hard, I start looking for the exit. When things get uncomfortable, I start looking for the first quick fix that'll make me feel good. Being an addict who's had to work on not being a sugar seeker, I can tell you firsthand, at that moment you have a decision to make. Am I going to find the exit yet again, or am I going to dig in? And am I going to give my heart, and am I going to learn how to think a different way? You know, I'm going to be completely vulnerable with you. Many, many years ago, I was addicted to relationships. I had an addiction called love addiction. Came out of a family system where you are the adult and you had to be responsible for giving the emotional nourishment to your parents instead of the other way around. And I was an empty cistern. And because we all want love and we all want belonging, I was addicted to wanting people to need me. And that led to an insatiable desire to be loved. And when you are a person of high charisma and a person who knows how to connect emotionally with people, that meant that I connected with a lot of women many decades in my life. And I had deep shame about that. And what I would do, I would get in the shower, and I had tiles in my shower, and I wanted so bad to overcome that, but I was afraid to say it because if I said it out loud, I knew my career and my life was going to I'd have to deal with the consequences. And I would count the tiles. Okay, I made it through the first row. Each tile represented a day. Okay, I made it through the third tile. I made it through the fourth row. And when I made it through that row, that wall, and that wall, I never made it to the third wall. Never made it to the third wall. And all of my thinking was about don't do it, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Don't do it. That's all my thoughts were about. Eventually, when it all came out, and I started getting the help I needed. The first day I made it to the third wall, I'll never forget it. And at that third wall was a different way of thinking, some things to learn there, because I'd been clean long enough that now I could learn some things that I didn't have the capacity to learn before because it was so full of shame. Make sense? The thing is, I dug in. I said, I'm going to change. I'm not going to change for my appearance. I'm not going to change to get people to trust me. I'm going to change because I have become a con artist, and I am a person that I don't want my kids to ever emulate. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to become a person of integrity. And every single day for 3 years, I went to intense therapy. Every single day. And I learned some things about me that I never learned on the first and second wall. Don't quit until you're at the third wall, because there's new learning on the third wall. Thank you, you all. We have some decisions to make. Will you deal with the decision that you wrote down? Will you? You're awesome. Let's give ourselves a hand.